Hi there. Today we're going to talk about doing a health literacy load, and this will take us way beyond identifying difficult words or number of syllables in sentences. I didn't say toad analysis. I said load analysis, so think of a little old lady with a heavy burden, and I certainly don't want to write things that are going to be hard for her. So, a health literacy load analysis essentially is unpacking the message or the text but paying attention to what the concepts or the knowledge are that the text assumes. What does it assume the reader has? So the more difficult the concepts and knowledge, the heavier the load. And that's not a good thing. So let's look at this really simple sentence. The king died. And another really simple sentence. The queen died. Now, I'd argue that that's got a pretty heavy load because, well, you have so many questions until you say the queen died of a broken heart. And that makes this load a little lighter because then you realize the king and queen loved each other, and when he died, she died of a broken heart. Okay, now let's move on to during the pandemic of 1917, the king died. The queen died also. Now, this load is heavier still because if you don't know some of the references in the sentences, you're lost. So, if you know something about the great flu epidemic of 1917, if you have some historical literacy, you're helped by this. Or certainly if you have some health literacy, if you know something about pandemics and that they spread from person to person quickly, and that the queen likely died of the same flu. Without that, it has a heavy load. Now, if we say the king died from measles, the queen did not because she got a vaccination. Okay, bear with me here. Again, you can see that knowledge you have about measles or infectious diseases helps you. Now let's go to a real sentence. This is part of a petition to counter the high cost of cancer drugs. Enact and sign into law new federal legislation that prevents drug companies from delaying access to generic drugs and extending the life of drug patents. Now, aside from the language, the vocabulary, let's unpack and do a load analysis. Knowing something now about drug companies making it very difficult for other companies to produce generic drugs, routinely is what they do, and to certainly know that generic drugs are cheaper. And another bit of knowledge that helps you understand this sentence is that if a drug company continues to have a patent, then other companies can't make generic, cheaper drugs. So the background knowledge really helps us understand. Simple concept. Here again, a Q&A about measles elimination. Measles elimination is defined as the absence of continuous disease transition for 12 months or more in a specific geographic area. In such areas, there may still be measles cases, but they're coming from the outside. Now look at what this requires. To understand the importance of the continuous process of disease, that it's limited to a geographic area. I mean, these concepts, health concepts, science concepts, are packed into the text. So identifying the difficult language of a message is always going to be necessary, but it's usually not sufficient. And identifying the health literacy load of a message will often tell us more about how to make a good message. We'll be doing a lot more in the library on load analysis, and please check out the stacks. As always, good talking to you. See you soon.